We'll be starting momentarily. Give it about another 30 seconds and then we'll get this show on the road. Okay, well, welcome to tonight's event, everyone. My name is Jody Kaplan, and I'm Senior Director of Alumni Relations. I am very excited to welcome you to tonight's program, Reimagine Your Space, the DIY Way. We have a great program ahead, and we couldn't do it without Kristen Luger from the Alumni Engagement Team, who will be helping out on the production end tonight. Kristen is also an HGTV fan, so she really helped create tonight's program. Before we begin, I want to take care of some housekeeping. First off, the chat box is open, so feel free to type in where you're watching from and the DIY project you want to conquer next. This will allow others who are here to get more ideas for their own layouts. Second, you all have access to the Q&A area on your screen. That's where we want you to type your questions and type them throughout the presentation, and we'll do our best to get to all of them. Third, this program will be recorded, so if you miss anything, you'll be able to reference the recording later. And fourth, and probably most important, we want you to sit back, relax, and just imagine the home projects that can be in your future. All right, let's get started. I'm excited to be your moderator tonight. You may be less excited, as you'll soon see, I am no expert in this area. I'm really looking forward to learning a lot tonight because trust me, I have a lot to learn. Planning, decorating, redesigning, they're just not in my wheelhouse. I don't know about all of you, but I have a difficult time envisioning what something might look like. I need to physically see it. That's probably why I've lived in my house for 26 years and it's virtually unchanged. The exterior of my house has been stained over the course of our 26 years, but I always choose the same color in fear that I won't like the color. I can't envision what it'll look like. Now, I'm quite certain that styles may have changed since 1995, but like Connecticut is the land of steady habits, my house is the house of steady habits. All right, I exaggerate a little bit. Quarantine has led me to make some changes. Like many of you, we have been looking at our own walls, decks, and lawns for the last 14 months. I've done more projects during quarantine than I have in the 26 years. But enough about me and my lack of knowledge. Let's meet our experts. Our speakers tonight are fellow Huskies. Kim Lamagna is a 1981 graduate of CLAS, majoring in communication sciences, and Dustyn Nelson is class of 2014 from CAHNR, majoring in horticulture. First, Kim. After a career in higher education administration, Kim changed career direction. In 2005, she created Finishing Touches Home Staging as an accredited staging professional. Her expertise is in showcasing homes for sale, being a home stylist, design and redesign, color consultation, space planning and function, and accessorizing any decor. Her reputation is phenomenal, and I've seen her work firsthand, and it's amazing. Dustyn Nelson is a vice president of the Connecticut Nursery and Landscape Association. He helps his clients envision their outdoor space in new and functional ways. In an era where the motto is bigger is better, Dustyn utilizes available resources to maximize the value of your outdoor space. Dustyn is currently the operations manager of Frank's Landscape Construction, where he specializes in low-maintenance landscapes. Each custom project comes together through the many connections Dustyn has made while serving as the youngest president of the Connecticut Nursery and Landscape Association in 2020. I am happy to introduce Kim and Dustyn as they guide us in reimagining our space. They're going to discuss projects that require a variety of skill levels. from the DIY perspective to hiring a professional to some combination of both. Welcome, Kim and Dustyn. How are you guys tonight?
Doing well.
Thank you for that introduction, Jody.
I hope we can live up to it.
Did I miss anything in the intros that you'd like me to share with our audience or that you'd like to share with our audience?
I think you captured it.
I think the most important thing is, even though we're professionals, you know, we still dabble in the DIY stuff ourselves. You know, I do landscaping as a profession, but a lot of the stuff that Kim's going to talk about tonight, I go ahead and do as a DIYer myself at home. And I'm sure the same goes for Kim when she's doing her outdoor projects.
I was so impressed with Dustyn and his youth and accomplishing all that he's accomplished. I said, I better get myself in gear. And I promptly went on a search for my patio light project. So I'm happy to report as we speak, it's done, thanks to Dustyn.
All right. All right. Well, are you guys ready to help us reimagine our space?
We're ready.
All right. Well, then let's talk about what's hot and what are the trends for 2021. Kim, you want to kick that off?
I will. We don't have to look too far to kind of recognize an obvious trend right now, and that is eco-friendly products, sustainable products that are really good for the earth and locally sourced. Examples would be reclaimed wood, beams, fireplace mantles. Lighter woods are more popular now. Unfinished woods, live edge tables are all good examples of sustainable local woods that are gained in popularity.
What's a live edge table, Kim?
A live edge table. Yes.
What is that?
It's in a regular, it's not a straight line, but not the manufacturer, but the artist or the person producing the table will take part of the natural grain of the wood or maybe some of the knots and create little curves and interest following the lines of the actual wood. It's really kind of cool, and they're wildly popular and pretty expensive. Not out of the realm of a do-it-yourselfer if you are handy with wood products, but it is a beautiful beautiful table and very popular, especially if they're locally sourced and they use woods that are found in your particular area of the country. So
and I know up here in North Central Connecticut, we've got a couple of people who have, you know, portable wood mills, and they'll take a whole tree and they'll cut out the middle section of it.
Mhm.
You've got the bark on the edges, and then you see the beautiful grain going across it. And they'll sell that to use for different projects, and that's another form of the live edge, because you've got the whole slice of it.
Right. And the popularity of using that reclaimed wood, maybe from an old barn or what have you, of, you know, factory that was torn down, those beams that we're seeing exposed in homes. We're seeing a lot of wood shelving, open shelving in kitchens, and wood and other natural products like stone, marble, add so much character to a home. So we're getting away from, I think we were talking about this earlier, Dustyn, those faux wood products, those luxury vinyls. People are now investing in more sustainable products, the real thing. So like the wood and the natural stone, there's also mixed metals. They kind of inject a little interest and texture and warmth into a decor. And our textiles are organic. People are investing in maybe the linens and the jutes and the cottons and the hemps. Those natural products like we find in our clothing has carried over into our home decor realm.
Just last week, I took a piece of scrap metal from scrap pipe from one of our projects, and got a fitting and used it, screwed it to the wall, and used that as a paper towel dispenser in our bathroom here
There you
at our
go.
office.
There you go.
A very modern look, or in a landscape office, it's just, you know, functional.
There's so many, and the whole organic nature of what we're talking about in home decor, the lines are really blurred between us, Dustyn, with our, you know, interior and exterior. We want to, you know, expose our windows, let more light in. I want to bring in more plants, more live plants, and not the faux things that I often have to use in staging, but that's definitely a trend. And
the house plants, they don't have to be difficult. There's ones that are so easy. That there's a ZZ plant that I have in my office, and I've given to many of my friends, and it goes great with low light. They flourish. I water the thing once a month. It's almost, you know, almost fake.
you can forget about them. The succulents,
Yeah.
you can forget about them. Anyone, there's no excuse not to have, unless your pets could potentially eat them and they're toxic. There's no reason why, and they make the air better that we breathe. So why not?
And you can consult with there's so many resources online that will help you decide if it's toxic or not. The ASPCA is a great resource for that. They not only include dogs and cats, but they also include horses and a number of other pets.
Right. Other trends that I think are hot are, so many of these trends are trends 1 year and then they're out the door, but just like color, colors go in and out of vogue so quickly, but I think we're still seeing neutral colors, but we're seeing a little more color, and the colors in nature. The greens, the soft whites, the blues are always popular. Colors that you find in nature for sure. And the colors of the sunset are so popular right now, the mauves and the golds. So that's another popular trend. And
the accent walls popular?
Yes. And sometimes we call them feature walls, but a wonderful example of a feature wall is using that raw salvaged wood, not the old paneling that we used to see, Jody, in the 1950s or 60s, and not even shiplap, which, believe it or not, folks, is sort of going out of vogue here. It's still widely popular, but we're seeing a lot of, you know, unfinished, rough-edged wood as
barn boards.
Yeah, as a feature wall, and stone as another feature wall. So yes, they are popular. It's a great way to
caution with stone. You want to. There are stone veneers made for indoor, and some are made for outdoor. So make sure, you know, if you can't use the same one for both applications. So be sure to read the package, consult with, you know, wherever you're buying that from. And then there's even some that are, Kim, you were mentioning the stick-on ones. Right.
Peel and stick. We'll get to that a little later, but it's a great do-it-yourself project, something that all of us can do. But and another decor that is wildly popular right now is the boho, the bohemian influence. And it's still very popular, rightly so, but I think it's becoming a little reined in, a little pared down. We're kind of keeping it a little more relaxed and casual, and we're getting rid of all the pom-poms and the tassels. and you know, it's with all of those natural influences, you can't help but create a cozy little nook or accent area within your decor.
And sound is really becoming a big thing. Audio, you know, everyone loves listening to music. So, you know, Bluetooth speakers, you know, are a real cheap, easy way. But if if you're missing concerts and being able to really jam out, you know, it's not necessarily blasting it on full volume. It's getting a good speaker system. So whether, you know, it's, you know, you may need more than one speaker. So I know a lot of people are a fan of those speaker rocks. So
Mhm.
then that way it naturally integrates outdoors. And
Mhm.
there's also ones that you can really nicely integrate indoors, almost like a light in your home, a recessed light. And putting multiple speakers is really going to help make it sound more authentic, you know, more like you're at the concert. And if you really want to go, you know, crazy, if you get a subwoofer to go along with it, it really it makes you feel like you're at the concert. So you can, once the COVID is gone and you can get together with your friends again and you're either inside or in your backyard, you know, you don't have to go to concerts anymore. You can have them right there in your backyard. So, and there's varying levels. You can go all the way from, like I said, that Bluetooth speaker to having someone professionally install it. So there's an option for every budget.
So you've touched on some trends, some 2021 trends.
Mhm.
Now let's take a look back. What about some past fads? Do they date your house? When is it cool to be retro, and when is it not cool to have things from the olden days?
I think the key issue or the element that would sway it one way or the other is too much. Are we too heavily into one area? Are we too matchy, over decorated? Too much color, over styled is really a key indicator that you are dated in your decor.
So you mean it's time to get rid of the avocado refrigerator?
Time to get rid of the avocado refrigerator and possibly that blue shag that's kicking around in your living room. It's not to pick on anyone's style, but if there's too many patterns, too many colors, heavy drapery, remember those swags and jabots that we just had to have, that and heavy paneled silk curtains in every room, covering half of our windows, blocking light, that actually match your bedspread and your dust ruffle. I mean, that's serious dated decor. The other area too is when we walk into a home and you see too much of anything is a danger sign, but too many heavy furniture pieces that all match. And I'm envisioning dark leather furniture. You have the sofa, the oversized sofa, the oversized love seat, the oversized chair that reclines with the ottoman. I mean, that would just overload any potential room.
We want complementary things, not exact matches.
Exactly. And it's okay to, you know, pair an upholstered piece with maybe a leather ottoman, but to have all the furniture in that same fabric will date you. One of my favorite telltale signs is the formality of our decor has changed, but the formal dining room items, the actual buffet and hutch that's lit from within, that, you know, holds our china that we use maybe once every 10 years. The large TV entertainment centers, you know, nothing is built in and streamlined, but they're so big and bulky. And I think that is one of those fads that dates a home. Wall-to-wall carpet is when there's solid wood floors underneath, to me, dates a home with an easy fix. Two-tone walls and faux painted walls.
Kim, if I can't afford to go buy all new couches or buy the Oriental rug, you know, what kind of options do I have to kind of update that style?
I think I would just lighten it up. Nowadays, instead of the big, heavy entertainment centers and a complete set of furniture, just one piece that's comfortable. Mount that TV on the wall with a slim little low profile cabinet underneath is the way that some people go. I would rip up that carpet It's better for allergies. It's better for, it's a better look, and it adds value to your home. Wallpaper borders, it just screams dated. It's just a little sweat equity to remove that border and prep the walls and repaint a soft neutral color, and it will feel better. Get rid of the heavy drapery and let the light in. Windows are a beautiful feature in most homes, and that's an area that we always try to showcase. So we just remove them.
And we try to do the same on the outside. So many people have shrubs that grow over the height of the window.
Right.
And, you know, by letting in some light, it can change the whole look of their rooms indoors, as well as changing the outdoors.
You're so right. When I walk into a home to consult, I don't start with the inside. I'm taking it all in from the outside. And if it looks worn and dated and unkept and bushes are hiding what I'm trying to showcase, and it's scary, but I have them chop them right down to the bare bones and maybe have it be the next person's, project, but really just pull out the overgrown landscaping for sure.
And you feel so much better when you let more of that natural light in.
Right. That's right. And light fixtures, I know we're going to talk about that. And you talked about exterior lighting. It's such a trend, a positive trend, but light fixtures can truly date a home. And it's such an easy fix to swap them out with so many more modern choices in so many different colors and so many different metals and looks, and very inexpensive. So those are my favorite past fads that date a home.
And Kim,
Dustyn, what about some past fads on people's decks and things? Like, how do you avoid past fads? What do you need to get rid of on your deck areas?
Oh, on decks. That's a tough one there. Go ahead, Kim.
How about just keeping them scraped and sanded and restained, and
clutter free?
Right. Do you try to use Trex or any of the the faux products?
Yeah, I mean it becomes all of how far you want to go.
Right.
Putting that sweat equity into getting out there and sanding it, and maybe if your wood's a little warped or oftentimes I see it's dry. So by sanding it down and applying that stain, sometimes the CAM will recommend 1 coat or 2 coats. Maybe it'll take the 2 or 3 coats, just because it's so dry. It's starving for that moisture. It's going to really suck it in. And that can really help bring some life to it. So either that or if your patio is starting to look a little tired and worn, getting out there and power washing it. A lot of these places that sell the pavers, you can go and get a special shampoo, which I definitely recommend getting the special shampoo and not using just any sort of cleaner. You don't want to put Clorox on it. That'll degrade it. The cleaner is a little bit more on the expensive side. You're talking $30 to $50 a gallon. But if you take the time and the sweat equity and you go out there with a power washer, if you don't have a power washer, you can rent one from your local like Taylor Rental or one of those places. And it's amazing how much dirt lifts off of there. And you don't even realize that. And it gives it a whole new look.
Dustyn, any changes with the actual lawn care from years ago, things to avoid? I mean, how do we keep our lawn healthy? Is it better to use all organic products? And
that's really comes down to a personal choice for people. There's a lot of different options with a lot of varied results. So it's finding the right option for your space. So whether you have a lot of shade or you have a lot of sun, it's getting to know the property and doing that. Don't be afraid to go down to your local garden center with a picture and some information, or send in your soil samples to UConn, because UConn will test your soil and tell you what nutrients you need in there, if you need to raise or lower your pH. So instead of just you want to take the guesswork out of it. So that's one easy way. UConn does it for $10 last I checked. It's well worth the $10. You can do it through the Connecticut Ag Experiment Station for free, but it's not as detailed of a report. So there's a lot of different ways. And I always tell people lawn is going to be your lowest maintenance option unless we're building Stonehenge in front of your house. I've actually got a few photos I'll share with everyone to kind of go along. We've got just no definition here to this landscape. It's not, none of these that are necessarily bad. It's just there's ways that we can make it more like that HGTV look, that streamlined look everyone's going for. It just looks like a big mass from far away. This one's, the plants are just getting out of control and eating the house, and you can't tell where one begins and the other ends. You want people to see your front door. You don't want to hide it.
Right.
It makes it feel more inviting to people. So these are just not just fads, but just, simple changes you can make. This one, by just eliminating some plants and allowing some space for things to breathe, it'll make it easier on you because you'll have less problems with your plants, but it'll also, look better. You want to see some of the mulch or some of the stone underneath. I mean, how do you get under there and weed under that mass there? And bigger is not always better. I mean, this house I've driven by since we took down this. I wish I had a picture of it, but it looks so much better. It almost looks abandoned with this right now. And this patio space, it's so vast that everyone's always thinking, bigger is better. We got to have more room, have more of this, more of that. You don't feel like you're in a room. So how can you get comfortable and relaxed? You feel like, you never know what's coming up behind you. Or you get all excited and you have all kinds of enthusiasm now after you've been, inside all winter, and you go to the flower show, and you go to the garden centers and you see everything in bloom. And of course they put that all right by the front because it looks the best and really grabs your attention. And then you buy only things that are in flower. You end up with a landscape that, it looks great at this moment that everything's in flower, but what happens 3 weeks from now when none of that's in flower? It all just starts to look tired. So you want to kind of avoid that, and ways you can avoid that and help out your budget at the same time are going back multiple times throughout the season. And it spreads out the work for you a little bit. Buy, half a dozen plants now, go back in a month or two, buy half a dozen more then. And 4 or 5 months from now, buy another half a dozen. You're going to add that variety, and something's always going to be blooming, and they're going to think that you hired a professional to design this because your garden's always going to look good. And this, while it looks beautiful, it's only going to look beautiful when those lavender are in bloom. The rest of the year, you're just looking at a pile of green.
Right.
Even at our very own state of Connecticut rest stops. I mean, that looks, if it was a little bit more maintained, the leaves blown out of it, it wouldn't look half bad. But that's in the fall. In springtime, that's just a patch of dirt because nothing's come up yet. So I mean that, and then, you know, we were probably all guilty of this at one point, back when we took the same shrub and we shaped it 5 different ways. That's just, you know, there's so many other ways we'll talk about later to add some variety to your landscape. And I'm not saying you have to rip out all of these. If you want to keep a couple of them, like these 3 underneath the bow window there, it's nice because you can keep them below that window to let in lots of light. But get rid of the others because it's too, it's like what Kim was talking about. It's too matchy.
Not only that, the shrubs cannot be that shape. I mean, they look like benches. That's
Yeah. And this is
There should
only
be a
going to go
log.
downhill from here. I mean, they're not meant to be like that. We try to make plants do sometimes what they're not meant to do.
Right.
They're living things. They have feelings too.
So we've talked about, you know, what's hot. We've talked about the fashion don'ts around our house, the past fads. Now let's bring it together and figure out, how do you create the balance of the trends and the throwback looks, and how do you create functional space?
And sometimes it starts, I'll share one more photo here.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it starts with nothing. Sometimes if you have something that's really not working and not functional and not, you know, great, just ripping it all out. I mean, that's the most budget friendly thing. If you're willing to put the sweat equity in, rip it all out, start with nothing. And that's going to be better than, you know, piecemealing, you know, having the left-hand side of your house still be the old ugly planting and the right-hand side have your brand new, you know, it's going to be then too mismatched.
Right. Right. I think I agree with that. For me, in order to imagine or reimagine how a space could function, and using flexible furniture, you have to clear it out. You have to declutter, get rid of the problem and clear it out so you can just envision what you need to do and build it from that point forward. And I think we touched on that. It just depends on, but that's part of the process. Even if it's one room or one area, you can't bring new stuff in until you get rid of the old or the clutter.
And that's part of your ABCDs
It is.
method.
It is.
Could you share that with people?
I will share it with you. The ABCD is actually how I begin the process if I was to reimagine a space and repurpose a space. D would be declutter. And as a stager, I do it routinely, but I would recommend this process to anyone that wants to just recreate or reimagine an area of their home to declutter, remove the furniture, clear it out before you can envision how you want it to look. We all have goals and dreams of how we want to redo a space, maybe. But in order to do that, I think I would just declutter, clear it out. The C, working backwards, is color. And that's probably the easiest do-it-yourself project. Color, paint color, wall color, you would get the most bang for your buck. It's a very inexpensive way to transform a room. It sets the tone of that room. It creates a mood. And it's just the most bang for your buck. Very inexpensive. So C would be the color. B would be the balance in the room. Do I have too much of that heavy matchy furniture? Do I have too much around the perimeter of the room? Do I have any high pieces? Do I have any low pieces? It has to be in balance before I think a space works. Do I have a table near a chair that someone could reach if I sat in a cozy corner? Do I have lighting? So all of that comes into play when maybe reimagining and redesigning and refreshing a space. And lastly, just like wardrobe enhancements, is the accessories, accessorizing your space. And those are the portable items that you can change out and see immediately how they can transform a place. But your artwork, your pillows, your lamps, your rugs, your bedding, for instance, in the summer versus the winter, major transformation. And with our TJ Maxx's and our Home Goods, it's so easy, our Lowe's, to find wonderful products that coordinate for not a lot of money, and we can change them out seasonally, or if we get bored with them, or if trends change and colors change, it doesn't break the bank.
Tim, the first time I visited the store called At Home, I
Mhm.
was just blown away. I didn't know there was so many styles and colors of pillows. I mean, there had to be a dozen aisles of just throw pillows.
Right.
And I
It's
couldn't
overwhelming.
make up my mind.
Yeah. I had the same experience at Lowe's. I was looking for an outdoor rug for someone, and talk about what a wonderful display of all these indoor outdoor rugs, which are amazing. You'd be hard pressed to say it's an outdoor rug because it looks like an expensive rug and they're so reasonable. Throw that on my deck for sure. But they coordinate the pillows that look like indoor pillows. They have all the outside furniture on each of the outdoor rugs with the coordinated pillows right there. You can't miss. So it's really, and very reasonable. So, but it's, those accessories, just like jewelry, are once you kind of have your vision clear in your mind of how you want the space to function.
And what I do kind of sometimes, I can do an awesome job envisioning someone's outdoor space, but I have some trouble if we took a tour of my home inside, envisioning the indoor space. So I'll go online, print out pictures and place them all together, almost like what we used to do in elementary school, clipping out stuff out of magazines and newspapers to make collages.
That is what we do in the design business. We create those mood boards. We create those Pinterest bulletin boards that capsulize all of our ideas and put these products together to see how they're going to work together and look. And you can it's a very visual process for sure. So I don't believe that you're not good indoors as well as outdoors, because you either have the eye or you don't. So, but yes, that's a perfect place to start, Jody, is creating that plan or that board of your ideas of how you want your space to look.
So you create the board, and you have all these great ideas and big plans. But you say, all right, I can't do it all at once because my wallet just can't afford it all at once. So how do I start? Can I chunk it out? Does it look unfinished if it's not all done at once? What do you do?
You absolutely can do it piecemeal. And you start with, it just depends on the scope of your project, but changing out pillows or a rug is not transforming an entire room. So for sure, painting a wall, that in itself can transform a room.
So small changes can make a big difference?
Huge difference. Changing a light fixture, using our natural products, our reclaimed wood, our our jute rugs, I mean, can just drastically change the look of the space. New bedding that's lighter and airier, and maybe appropriate artwork over the bed. It's just, it's a game changer. And I feel just as good about those little changes because I'm not spending a lot of money. So I feel good about that. And it just, so you don't need to do a whole room or a whole house redo. That's the beauty of a do-it-yourself
Kim,
project.
I know you had mentioned knobs as one of them.
Right.
And
Cabinet hardware. Oh my goodness.
how much are those? Like $2 a piece?
Well, you have to be careful because nowadays, yes, they're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on up to 10, but they could be 35 or even more if you really get, you know, the heavy duty real copper or nickel or iron or whatever. But how they modernize a pretty dull, mundane cabinet is amazing. So that's one of the first changes I would recommend to update your space is cabinet hardware in the bathrooms and the kitchen.
And it's like Kim said, when you're going through and changing it, if it's not a lot of money and you end up not liking it, you change it again.
That's right.
And that's okay. I mean, there's customers that we've been working with for 15 years, and you would say you must be done with their landscape. Well, things evolve over time, and we're constantly changing things, and change isn't a bad thing. It's the way I look at it is just a simple way to kind of continuously update your space without spending a lot of money. Rather than having to go in there and doing the, the A to Z redo of the space.
And you have to kind of live with something for a while before you realize and really find what it is you're looking for. And so I wouldn't rush to, if you empty out a room, rush to just quickly get it all back intact. If you can wait, and nowadays with how hard and how long it takes to get if you are ordering furniture, it's going to take months and months and months. So you have to be patient anyhow. But it's the fun of the hunt to find that perfect rug or that perfect home goods or home sense item. So just that in itself, I think you talked about that, Dustyn, that you just all of a sudden went out and you spent a weekend and you went on a search. You went to tag sales or whatever to find that perfect light fixture. So,
or like with plants, even as a professional, everyone thinks, we go to one nursery and we buy all our plants there. I go to a dozen different nurseries, and I might say to the customer, rather than, oh, we're going to get you the limelight hydrangeas for this space, I might say, oh, we're going to get you some sort of unique evergreen here. I don't know exactly what it is yet. And I go out there and I search for it. And when I see the one, I know it, I get that gut feeling, and I snap a picture of it, send it to my customer. And so as long as you have a general sense of what you're looking for, that can help guide you, and you don't have to know exactly, and use people as resources, use the internet, go and talk to your garden center.
Paint and hardware stores are fabulous. They have a plethora of information about, if you're skittish about what paint color, it's really only paint. And they can help, pinpoint what kind of mood you want to create and what kind of feel you want from that space, and direct you to the paint colors, because they, different times of day, different surroundings, paint can look different on different walls and in different rooms with different lighting. But you're right.
Jody can go down to her local paint store and with the picture of her deck, and they can help make recommendations on which product. They're there as a resource. That's why they're in business. They're not just there to sell you a gallon of whatever. They want to help you be successful, because then that means you're going to come back to them again and again.
Right.
So
Right.
as far as these easy do-it-yourself updates, you've already talked about like the new cabinet hardware and paint color.
Mhm.
What are some other good tips for do-it-yourself updates? Both interior and exterior.
I
We
always-
talked about paint, but how about painting your front door? And this is a pet peeve of mine, but painting a front door, really, you can personalize it. You can and have fun with it, make it your own. But new home letters, new address letters or numbers, not letters, numbers on your door, or on your home somewhere is so important, because I drive around searching for different homes and I can't see their letters anywhere. They've faded, they've fallen off, they rusted. So to me,
That's where bigger is better.
that bigger is better. Sure.
So you're in the hardware store and they've got the 2-inch and the 3-inch, and that's what they have the most of. And I was like, oh, so that must be the most common one. And that's, I got those and I put them on the front of my house, and I stood out by the road and I couldn't see them. I thought I needed to get my eyes checked. So I went back and got those 6-inch ones, which in the store, it looked so overbearing, but it really, like Kim was saying, when I go visit customers, I'm there, driving by super slow to make sure I don't miss the house I'm trying to go to,
Well, that's because there's so many bushes and shrubs and trees blocking their driveway too. So not only can you not see the house and numbers, but you're hard pressed to find the driveway too.
So
So
clearly they didn't go to this program where we rip them all out and start all over.
that's right. Another fun idea is creating a gallery wall of pictures. We all have plenty of family pictures that we stick them in frames and we put them on every surface that we have in the house. But what a better way is and you can kind of change this too as time goes on, like your paint colors, but take those pictures, get some interesting frames that either are all the same but different sizes or all relate to one another, and have fun with creating this wall of family memories, relatives. They could be antique looking, sepia tone pictures. But a gallery wall really starts to build from the center, and you could have something interesting that could be a mirror, a starburst mirror, and then build out from there of all your family pictures. But it is a lot of fun. And I know we have a picture to show a little bit further of a kitchen, but there is a gallery wall that we can see in the distance. But it's a great way to utilize a kind of a non-impactful wall in your home to just build something like that. A lot of fun.
Another thing I always tell people too is take the time to plan it. Figure out what you want. If you don't know what you want, that's when you're going to never be happy with and if you take the time to plan it out, there's only so many hours in a weekend to get a project done. So that's when you can break it into phases. This is a pretty big project here that we did, but you can see that there's no landscape plants around it, and that's okay. And they went a whole summer without that. And then we came back the year after and put in some landscape plants, but we planned ahead and put in that landscape bed and made appropriations for it. And that was enough to be able to,
build on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Build on
and then that way, if you're doing it yourself, you have the time to do it, you have the budget, and you're not stressing yourself out trying to get it all done in one weekend. Right.
We all have bookcases are another useful do-it-yourself project. We all have bookcases, whether built-ins, which are wonderful, but they're often stuffed with, reams of paper and not a, visually attractive things. We all have wonderful books that we love. We all have memorabilia and heirlooms and interesting objects we'd like to display. We could have, some more pictures in frames. We could have little pieces of artwork we want to throw in there, but just stylizing your bookshelves over a weekend. They could be painted. You could do something to the back of them, that peel and stick wallpaper. But it really can transform a space just to tackle those bookcases if they're in a central area of your house, like a family room, because that's usually the first thing I do when I go into a stage of house is to make it look inviting and visually appealing, because that's a wonderful feature to have. So great do-it-yourself project.
With that in mind, I want to switch gears and show the before and after picture that Kim, you want to show with the
gallery wall,
peel and stick and the gallery wall. And then we're going to cut to questions because we have a lot of questions.
Sounds good.
All right, Kim, you want to talk about what we're looking at here?
Sure. Now this is, I must caution you, an extreme do-it-yourself project. It's not for the faint of heart, and it takes a lot of confidence to be willing to paint your granite. But in this case, I have a colleague and a friend who did not have in her budget to replace her dark, dated, in her eyes, granite in her kitchen. There's a sizable amount of granite in there. She searched and researched and found a product and literally painted her granite. And we're going to show you the after picture in a minute, but it was done in a day or two. Literally changed her granite to a high-end quartz.
And Kim, I love that gallery wall in the background that you had mentioned before.
Yes. So here you go. That's being circled there. You can see off to the side is a gallery wall in the breakfast area in the kitchen. What a wonderful spot. You see it every single day. All the frames are very similar, and it shows family members, various vacation shots. Wonderful way to showcase family pictures. If we zoom in, I think if we go back to the former picture, what looks like a backsplash of stone is actually peel and stick wallpaper. So there you go.
Wow.
Other fabulous peel and stick, do it yourself project with minimal cost.
Kim, how are those to clean?
Fine. They wipe right down.
That's awesome, because the backsplash behind my counter, I always feel like it's so hard to clean. So that would, be definitely an upgrade in my kitchen.
Right. But the dramatic results, and the cost, $400 for this project. The epoxy, it's a resin, and it's rock solid. You cannot chip it or anything. And I think it came out fabulous. It looks like a very high-end quartz.
Kim,
Versus,
we have a question on that.
yes.
How does the painted granite hold up?
Well, that remains to be seen, but it does have a track record. So far, so good. And I'm gonna kind of track this for a while. Let's see what it looks like in 4 years. But this individual couldn't afford to replace her countertops now, but I think down the road she will. And so if it lasts 4 or 5 years, but it's like it's amazing. It's like an epoxy resin. I think it's going to hold up really well.
It gives you that chance to save up for the project.
Well, exactly.
Well, it's kind of amazing to see the price difference between the do-it-yourself versus the new countertop installed. It's worth the risk in some ways.
I'm just amazed. And this same person did the gallery wall. She painted, so this epoxy that you put on, those veins are hand painted on there. It's just stunning, the difference and how it's light and bright. but that is one do-it-yourself project that I don't think I would have the guts to do.
All right,
But
let's take a couple of questions for on the outside right now.
Mhm.
Becky asks, I want to redo my patio area with pavers, and I'm having a hard time with which material to use for pavers. What do you recommend for stones or pavers?
So there's a lot of different pavers and stones out there on the market. You know, not my place to recommend a specific brand, but what I will say to it is there definitely is a big difference in quality when you're looking at them. So if you can get to your local supplier and see them in person, or talk to a landscaper, you know,
Mhm.
you'll definitely find out which ones are better. And just because it's better doesn't mean it's more expensive. You know, what over the course of a whole patio, it may add $200 or $300 to the cost, but it's going to give you a lot more life out of it. So it's over time, it's worth the extra bit of money. And that's with a lot of these different things. You know, spending the couple extra bucks now is going to save you down the road.
And one other outside question before Kristen comes in with some of the other questions. What's the best type of grass seed for wet areas?
So trying to get that to be a little bit drier of a space is going to be really important with that. You know, so going in there and in the fall aerating it is going to open up and let some oxygen and some air into the soil. So lawns can be a tricky thing sometimes. So you definitely go to your local garden center, consult with them, you know, bring some pictures, get your soil tested. And it's not going to be something that happens overnight. Lawns are a 2 to 3 year process to kind of revamp it. So don't get discouraged. So that's the biggest thing. You know, you want to try getting the moisture out of that area. That's the biggest thing.
Okay, Kristen, are there some other questions you want to get out there?
Definitely. So we have one here from Jim. It says, we are remodeling our Tudor style house. Any tips for matching interior design / decor to an exterior to a very defined style like that?
Is it a authentic Tudor home with the windows and the I'm not sure, but
He says Tudor style.
Tudor style. And he wants to replicate that same style inside.
The geometric shapes, maybe.
I'm sorry, Dustyn, what?
Geometric shapes that.
Geometric, or, you know, very distinctive windows and placement of windows and that exposed brick. I think mixing maybe some little more modern elements, but definitely that bohemian global style of some finds, and not overstuffing your decor. Without seeing the spaces, it's hard to just pinpoint exactly what someone's looking for or what they style they have now. But I think it's, you know, definitely doable. It's hard to just blanket make suggestions.
He says it's black casement windows and exposed brick.
Very nice. I would definitely play that up, unless the brick is dark and the lighting is dark, but I would concentrate on the lighting and keeping any natural elements to that and showcase them and maybe carry them through in other areas. I've been in Tudor homes, and I wouldn't say that there was any particular style of furnishings, other than just to kind of maybe touch on, keeping some of those eco-friendly, locally sourced furnishings as well. Upholstered, not too much wood, but some upholstered pieces, and balance it.
In talking about, like a Tudor style home, and thinking about different styles of homes, from boho to mod farmhouse to industrial to traditional, is there a way to marry those in one space, or should you pick one style for your home and stick to it?
I think you can definitely marry them. I don't think you have to stick to one style. And I think that's the fun of just mixing certain styles and making it work and making it cozy and making it your own. I think that's what we were talking about. Just having it all matchy and all formal is really kind of a trend, that kind of a passé trend. We are mixing and matching and making it cozy and making it relaxed and comfortable and making it our own. So I think that's the fun of taking some pieces and repurposing them, for sure. So I do see a lot of coastal homes that look more like modern farmhouse homes, and they totally work together and married.
And even in your outdoor space, like the picture behind me, it's a nice relaxing, we've got a waterfall in there. It's a great space to just enjoy. And then up in the top left-hand corner up here, that space, just adjacent to it is more of a formal kind of English garden feel that they wanted. They liked the two different, vibes of the space and the looks, and we were able to marry those together really naturally. It's all about the products you use, and using them in the same products, just in a different manner in each space, will help really give you some continuity.
Right.
Before we get to the next question, I just want to let people know that it's 8:03 now, but Kim and Dustyn have offered to add bonus time to tonight so that we can get to the other questions. So we certainly understand if you have to cut out now, but we can continue on answering questions for some of our bonus time for tonight.
And Jody, if would you be able to share our contact information too, along with the recording?
Yes, we definitely
So
can.
Anyone...
Kristen, you want to grab another question?
Sure. Our next question comes from Wilma. She says, "Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today." She's joining us from sunny Seattle. She's releasing her condo later this week. Congratulations. The condo was painted all white. Any suggestions on how to select a new paint color? She has a view of Puget Sound and she was thinking coastal colors. What do you think?
Absolutely. If she loves to dabble with Pinterest, she could just visually see, even with the major paint manufacturers like Sherwin-Williams or Ben Moore, or for some of the other stores, you can actually go on a paint website like a Ben Moore and upload your room and see what a paint color would look like in your own space. So that's a lot of fun. But I would go visit your local paint store and talk about your vision for your new home, and you really want to, stick with the coastal colors, those watery blues, those watery grays are beautiful. The sunset colors are very restful, and they could probably guide you to make some recommendations, and then try them out in your space. Take a swatch or buy a little paint, a little pint of it, and take it home and put it on different walls in the rooms that you're considering painting. And from there, I think you'll be able to, you want to see it at different times of the day in your actual light too, daylight and evening.
Those are great suggestions. Our next question here is from Margaret. Do you have any experience with refacing kitchen cabinets? I'm starting to look into that.
So refacing versus painting versus removing and installing new cabinets, there obviously is a major price difference with all of them. If the goal is to just, save the money but get a better look, what they do with refacing is they change the doors. They take off the doors and put a more modern door and then paint the boxes. So if they're in good shape and you just want to change and change the door itself, which could be dated, then that's a good option. But I would also look into, refacing as well. What the wood type is makes a difference too. If there's oak and there's a certain grain, just painting over that just doesn't look like it does in the factory. So you have to kind of just really get some examples and talk to people who've had that done and make a choice from there.
We have another question here, and this is definitely in Kim's wheelhouse. What percentage of homes would you say that are for sale are staged? And do you think that's something that could be done DIY to some extent?
I would say, I don't know the actual percentage, but the movement, it's widely used. Many realtors hire stagers for all their listings in good markets and in not so good markets. It makes a huge difference because it's been proven staged homes sell more houses quickly and for more money. It's definitely a do-it-yourself project, especially if you're like me and you don't like clutter and you don't like chaos and a lot of stuff around, because essentially staging is undecorating. So just understanding, where to draw the line in terms of what to get rid of, what stays, focusing on the physical features of your home that you want to showcase, and what are the selling features. So it is something that can be learned. There's so many shows out there now that actually take you through. But contrary to what many people believe, it's really undecorating. It's removing the personalization and simplifying and editing your decor.
And Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of giving people who have such a hard time envisioning the space, at least seeing how someone has used it. So rather than just a big empty room.
Absolutely. Vacant homes go on the market all the time and they just don't sell. It always looks warmer and people can envision how a space functions with furniture in it for sure. So it is, and actually nowadays homes are marketed online before decisions are made, before anyone gets to see your home. They've already dismissed it by the way the pictures look online. So it's so very important to kind of look at it through the eyes of a prospective buyer and to have it neutral, clutter-free, pops of color, and have it look warm and lived in without overly stuffed and distracting. And that's really decluttering is 95% of the process.
Because if it looks dated, people are worried about, well, was this maintained?
Absolutely. Deferred maintenance. A well-staged homes can actually kind of trick your eye. You can't see those issues, when you are looking at a home, but when you go in person, if it's put together and the furniture looks good, and you have some warmth and it's well organized and you can actually see, the beautiful windows, the fireplace, whatever you're trying to showcase. You're trying to minimize the flaws of a home, but there's certain things that you can't cover up, like stained carpeting and dated trim and what have you, but it helps for sure.
Our next question here is geared toward the exterior of the home. What are some tips for planting shrubs around your house?
So some tips, I'll share some pictures here real quick. You know, it doesn't have to be mind blowing, you know, you don't have to use a lot of different material. I mean, we've used a lot of the same material here, the repetition, you know, putting the couple of grasses in there, using the different textures, using color. So, you know, coordinating the color enough where it gives some, you know, everything feels unified, but adding enough splashes of color for some difference in there. Let's see. This is a really great, you know, example of different textures in here. You've got the really soft, the pop of color over here. You know, leaving some negative space. We talked about that before. You know, you want to see the mulch in there.
And different heights, right? I mean,
yeah, different heights in there. You know, we've used the stone different heights throughout that, integrating stone and mulch in there. You know, doesn't all have to be expensive too. Throwing in a potted plant with some annuals in there for a pop of color, some movement. Throwing in your own tchotchkes that you find, some statuary, really can personalize this and bring it to life. I mean, without the statuary in there and the succulents, it's a cool waterfall, but this really helps bring it to life and make it a piece that you can be excited about.
Dustyn, I going by my own personal experience, when I started out with a new home and I had no landscaping, would you recommend, we talked a lot about plans, a landscape plan from a landscape designer just to work from and do that piecemeal? Is that a good approach?
Yeah, so a lot of landscapers will work with you on that. You know, just be upfront with them, you know, say I'm looking to get a plan that I want to do myself. A lot of garden centers offer that design service, and there's different varying levels of it. You know, you could bring in a picture of your home to some garden centers and they'll say, okay, you know, they'll pull a dozen different plants together right there on the ground and show you how to lay them out, all the way to like a formal plan or a 3D image to help you visualize that. So you can engage the expertise of a professional to help you with your DIY projects and planning those out. What we always say, good bones. We want to have, you know, evergreens that look good year round. We don't want to plant just for flowers, because then you're going to be disappointed, you know, 95% of the year. If you get some good bones, it's going to look good all year round.
This next question is back to Kim. How do you make a room cozy but not overcrowded?
Start with the bigger pieces, start with the mood that you're trying to create, the wall color, texture, softness, adding your own personality and choices, layering products. If you want to make a cozy reading room, start with the chairs, and then again, you know, the overall color. We're going back to the ABCs, only backwards. But I think that layering technique of, you know, the bigger pieces and the wall color is the mood. Then we're going to add our texture in the rug, and then we're going to layer our accessories from there. We'll need lighting, we need the lamps, we need the side table. But again, those choices, I think we can look to the warmth of our woods that we were talking about, and our natural fibers are great for adding that cozy warmth. Add a throw, add the cozy velvet pillows, but it just kind of, there's so many choices, that's the problem. But I think if you can kind of start with your basic color scheme and work from there and add a pop of color and add the layers, you're on your way.
And I always tell people, because there's infinite possibilities, I'm going to put forward one idea that I think works for your space.
Mhm.
And there may be one thing in there that you don't like, or maybe it is the whole thing that you don't like, but be upfront, be honest about, be
Mhm.
specific about what you don't like about it. And it's a process. And that's,
Right.
you got to stick with the process, and you may not be happy with the first stab at it, but you massage your plan and modify it, and
Mhm.
have fun.
Mhm. There's no right or wrongs, and it's your cozy space, and that's where you
live in it, not me. So it's what
so make it
looks good to
comfortable.
you.
Yep,
Exactly.
make it comfortable, and it's a kind of a blend between form and function, for sure.
And I think that's why Kim and I do what we do, because it's not just a job for us. We have fun with it.
Mhm.
Being able to go into someone's different space and kind of reimagine it.
Mhm.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground tonight, both interior and exterior ground. And I think that, thank you, Kim and Dustyn, so much for taking time out to be with us tonight. I know that Dustyn was not happy that we were doing this in May, his busiest time, but he was able to carve out the chunk of time for us, and we so appreciate it. I think we got a lot of new tips and ideas.
Mhm.
As I said, we're recording this, so you'll be getting from us a link to the recording, a survey, and Dustyn and Kim's contact info if you'd like to utilize their expertise. This is what they do, so I'm sure they could help out. I hope that you've all enjoyed this evening. I know that I learned an awful lot. So maybe I'll take down some of those window treatments and things and
Get rid of it.
oh, there's lots of work to be done. Kim, I'll be talking to you.
I'm inspired by everyone that I meet that does these do-it-yourself projects. We can all learn from each other. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming, and thank you, Kim and Dustyn. Any last minute tips, Kim and Dustyn, before we close out?
I'd just say with COVID, it's you got to be patient. Like Kim was saying, you may have to wait for what you really want, and stick with your gut feeling and your desire for that. Don't go, just for what's available. So it's really, and just being patient with people. If you're working with a professional, everyone's trying to do the same thing at the same time, and just, you'll be glad that you were patient and stuck to your guns, and it'll come out awesome, and have fun.
Yeah, have fun with it. Don't be afraid. That's what YouTube videos are for, the how-tos.
and with
Good
that,
night, everyone.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Kim.
I said good night, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you, Jody.
Good
Thank you,
night,
Chris.
and good luck with your DIY projects. Bye now.
Bye.